This next NBA draft is about to alter the lead, as Allen Larson is atop everyone's board, and for good reason. 7'4" out of the University of Tennessee is this big man, and he is someone, there's a few players around the league, very few, that have been referred to as, walking top 10 defenses. You're talking about Rudy Gobert at times. You're talking about Victor Wembanyama becoming that player. You're talking about Anthony Davis when he's healthy and playing at his height. Allen Larson is such a player. His defensive impact, even just from year one, will be insane. A+ for both his post defense and his rebounding. Projected by our scouts, A by the consensus, but this man is going to dominate on the offensive and defensive glass. He's going to be an incredible presence on the inside. He uses that height very well. He's also a very good athlete, not elite, but very good at 7'4". So he's just gonna be an unstoppable defensive force. And he's not just a defensive only prospect. His offense projects to be very good. A- inside scoring, B+ from the mid-range, C+ from 3. So not an absolute sniper by any means, but he's definitely somebody that you can hand it to in the post and expect some very good production. Whether he has a mismatch or not, he can even take other centers in the post. A little bit more traditional in that sense, but he's much more modern in the fact that he is willing to take open jumpers. And despite it's just a C+ rating, I saw him hit a decent amount of catch and shoot threes. When he's open, he'll take them and he will hit them. He's a smart player with a B IQ and obviously has the massive potential. Starting off with 6 badges here is excellent starts. I think the only player we've seen with more is Saramago, who started with 7, which was absolutely insane. But 6 as a starting point is really, really good for this player. Doesn't even have a ceiling. There is no ceiling for Allen Larson. We just don't know. He's an extremely rare breed. He and Wembanyama are just guys you don't see very often. And the fact that we've seen 2 in the matter of 5 years is just a fluke accident. You wouldn't see this caliber of player very often. His floor is Yao Ming. Doesn't have any weaknesses. He truly doesn't. And I think it's important to kind of not only compare somebody within a draft class, but also compare draft classes. Last year, I didn't think anybody was as good as Ayrton Saramago, but Allen Larson is absolutely a caliber of prospect of Ayrton Saramago. In fact, I'd even say he's the best prospect that's come out in the draft this series. I don't think he'll ever be like a massive scorer. Not that it's that he doesn't have the ability to. He's just, he's obviously going to get a lot of comparisons to Wemby. And the one thing, he doesn't really handle the ball. He definitely can score kind of wherever you give him the ball, but just don't expect him to kind of be that ball handler, that alien that Wemby is. He's less alien-like and more just dominant big. Doesn't have kind of those wing skills that you see from another alien prospect like Wemby. But defensively, he's going to be so incredibly good that I think that could kind of puts his caliber at least at Saramago, if not above it. Starting off at an 85 overall, this guy's going to be absolutely insane. I mean, Saramago started at like a 79, and we were very excited about what he was going to be offensively and defensively, if I'm being honest. But Allen Larson is already an elite defender, and whoever wins this lottery, we've seen surprise picks at number 1 overall before. I don't think we're going to see a surprise number 1 overall pick. It'd be dumb not to take Allen Larson number 1 unless you have the best center in the league and he's under 27 years old. This guy is insane. Allen Larson, number 1 player in the class. I don't think for the third straight year we'll see a surprise pick at number 1. It should be Alan Larson. He is absolutely insane. For our initial draft preview, I usually only go over a couple of players, just kind of the very top of the board, and we're going to continue that here with Lawrence Barber, who in normal years would be a very worthy number 1 overall pick, just not with somebody like Alan Larson at the top. And this, I would say, is a 2-player class. We've seen, some 3-player classes in the past, maybe even a 4-player class in the first year if you kind of stretch it a little bit. This is a 2-player class. Lawrence Barber here is a very good defender and shooter coming out of Arizona, and he is lethal on both ends of the court, which you really want from your top picks, right? You don't want somebody who's just going to play well on one side of the ball. You want somebody that's going to have two-way impact. That absolutely is Lawrence Barber. Very good shooting splits for him. Awesome defender out there on the perimeter. He has very good athleticism, very strong as well, as you can see in these clips. He is super muscled up. The thing with him, he has speed playmaking. I didn't see him use it a lot. He was more of an off-ball kind of guy at Arizona for most of the time this year. And so he honestly played kind of similar to like a Cameron McKnight. I think he just has a lot more upside at the playmaking. I think he already is better than Cameron McKnight at the dribbles, and then I think his upside just makes him somebody that could be even more. He's not going to grab any rebounds. He has an F in rebounding, so not going to be somebody that helps you out on the boards, but just 6'6", 232 pounds, really good size. You could see he's really well built. 232 pounds at 6'6" is really awesome size there. Starting off with 4 badges for him, so I think his defense is going to immediately translate. His 3-point shooting is going to immediately translate. And then depending on who drafts him, I think they can give him a high volume role and allow him to expand on his off the dribble capabilities, his driving capabilities that he didn't get to showcase as much at Arizona this year. He showed the glimpses that makes you think he can do it. It's just not quite there yet. The third player I want to talk about here is Ricky Parks. He was somebody that was suggested that we talk about when I first just gave the quickest glimpse of this class. And of course, we're going to talk about him here. His big calling card right now is his potential. He is listed as A+ potential right now with a Dominic Wilkins, all NBA upside for him. He is not nearly as ready to make a day 1 impact as these other players. He's kind of somebody that's towards the top of this class, somebody who's just starting a rebuild or isn't looking to compete next year should absolutely be taking a look at this player. I'm going to be lower on him than the consensus is. I just don't quite see it with Ricky Parks. The game that I watched, he kind of struggled to do much, if I'm honest. I don't like that he has D IQ and just C+ physicals. He's not super smart and he's not super athletic, which I think kind of limits you. Now, these things can improve, of course, with A+ potential, but skills wise doesn't have anything above a B-. I mean, his shooting is going to develop into eventually being a really nice shooter, but it's not going to be something that he can hop into the NBA day 1 and start contributing there. Probably has to come off the bench in year 1, unless the team is just totally, going for development and not trying to win next year. Defending, he's okay. He's not great there. He'll eventually turn into somebody that's decent because he has so much room to grow. I just don't think IQ can develop a lot, of course, at the NBA level. Physicals, I mean, those don't go up a ton. So starting at C+, you're never going to get somebody that's going to be kind of a great physical presence. I didn't see much in the way of him being able to create. And so he's going to go high in this class, and somebody's going to get a big upside swing. No badges to start with him as well, I might add, for the 6'6", 235. Another guy that's just built. These wings are super solidly built here in this class. And so maybe that's a reason that you can like this guy. He's not going to get overpowered with that strength, but he's going to go high. I'd still have him pretty high in this class just because he has A+ potential. And so, you know, with that level of upside, you can't ignore it. I would just say, I think consensusly he'll be the 3rd best player in this class. Might be a couple of other players that I would prefer over him, especially at the point of the franchise that we are in, where we're starting to kind of turn the corner. And, you know, this year we're towards a 500 team, but that's only going to get better as time goes on. I think we're looking for a little bit more day one impact. Not that I won't take guys that have, you know, any potential. You know, potential will still be factored into my decisions, but a guy that's kind of all potential, like a Ricky Parks right here, not all potential, he can kind of shoot, but it's just, this is a guy you take in year 1 or maybe even year 2 of a rebuild. Once you're kind of trying to win, I don't see as much value in a guy like Ricky Parks. That being said, he'll still probably be in the top 5 of this class for me, so if he's the best player on the board, one we'd pick, I won't hesitate taking him. I'll be happy with getting a guy that has so much upside as Ricky Parks, but there you have it. Those are kind of probably consensus-wise the best 3 picks in the class. There's of course a higher overall guy in Victor Jackson. His thing is, he doesn't have the potential, and we'll talk more about him in a future episode. I just kind of like to talk about the very, very top of a class the first time I preview it here in the season. Of course, once we get to the off season, I'll preview this class more in depth so we can see just who the best players are. Let's get back into some regular season basketball for this team. So let's hop into our gameplay here today, and this matchup was requested in the comment section a few episodes ago. Wanted to get to it earlier. This is just the first time we're actually playing them. Let's watch Albert Ellis, the rookie, go against who is not even like the gold standard, the platinum standard for being a high volume scoring point guard and being a high impact in winning. Steph is a standard that Albert Ellis just isn't going to live to, let's be honest with ourselves right now, but certainly a player that if he can model his game a little bit after Steph, that's going to help him succeed in this league. Steph fires up a 3, it's up and in. You'll notice pretty early on here, because we have a lot of stuff going non-gameplay wise here in this episode, we're just going to be taking a look at the highlights and the makes here in this gameplay session. Off the dribble, Saramago hits the jumper to make it 11-6 here early on in this game. Josh Green from the wing fires in a triple. Albert Ellis, isolation going against Steph Curry, and on the drive, able to sneak on past him for the 2. His ability to finish with his left hand has been impressive here in his rookie season. Has struggled a lot in the spotlight games as Albert Ellis. Easy A, as some call him. But last episode, he really started to break out. Hope he can continue that success in this game. Andrew Wiggins from the wing fires in a triple to make it 22-18. Saramago 1v1 against Steph, pulls up for the jumper. I'd rather have him go straight to the rim, but he gets the basket after the offensive rebounds. Steph from 3 hits it through the Max Christie foul. Can't be fouling Steph. He's very likely to turn those into 4-point plays, as we saw there. Saramago on fire as he continues to dominate first quarters in these spotlight games, helping us get off to big-time leads. And there's really the only defensive highlight we're going to see all game here. Bol just absolutely swatting that shot after the steal, but we ended up getting the basket anyway. 31-22 here as Bol scores a basket near the rim. He got a double team down in the post, swing it around to the open man, Josh Green, top of the key. Nothing but net here in the closing moments of the first. Golden State has one more chance to score, and Steph with another jumper. Just the greatest shooter of all time. Still got it here a few years into this franchise series in 2K. This is his age 38 season, I believe, 37, 38. So you have to question how much longer he will play, but he's still in the 90s overall wise. I think he's got a couple more years after this one in him. Bonzo, nice take there. After feeding it to Miller, getting it right back for the deuce. Steph, another jumper falls, and that is keeping Golden State right alongside us here. Just a 2-point game. Warriors hanging with us more than other teams have so far in Spotlight games. As a reminder, we are undefeated in Spotlight games with some dominant performances. Excellent pass to finish there on that basket. Golden State's sticking with us better than most. That Durant basket will make it a 6-point lead as Leonard Miller in transition pulls up. Free throw line extended for the mid-range jump shot. 8-point lead now for Vancouver. Another fast break for Leonard Miller, and he's showing some command there in the fast break. You absolutely love to see it. Steph from beyond the arc. Another catch and shoot triple for him. Getting the Warriors over 40 on the day. McKnight able to attack the closeout there and get all the way to the baskets for the deuce. Kuminga in the post going against Leonard Miller with the rights. Finishes over the top of him, and that'll force a Vancouver timeout here. Just over 3 minutes remain. Albert Ellis takes the Durant screen, pulls up behind it, and drills the triple. Beautiful shot there. So far, pretty decent stuff from Albert Ellis. Here he kicks it to Josh Green, trying to set up Saramago down low, and it works out for the Blizzard. Now it's Jones. He's gonna fire up a shot. Albert Ellis, I don't know exactly what happened there. He kind of just went underneath him. In transition, Wiggins with the basket. Just like that, right back down to a 4-point ball game. McKnight trying to extend the lead, and he does with the triple. Creating some space with a very nice screen there and making the most of it, but a response by Wiggins. Golden State in transition. You got to make sure you find Curry, or he's liable to hit the easy three, and that's going to take us into the half, where we have Saramago leading us with 19 points. Nobody else in double figures here, but a pretty well-rounded team effort in addition to Saramago doing his thing here at the half. But just a 1-point ball game heading into the second half. What will transpire here is that Curry three ties us up a minute here into the third quarter. The dish from straight A down to Jalen Duren for the easy flush. Now going to fire a three off the Saramago screen. Bottoms for straight A Ellis. Haven't been really using his nickname because until last episode he hadn't really deserved his nickname. Now he's starting to hoop. What a dunk by Andrew Wiggins right on top of Josh Green. Even when it's the opposition, you got to get excited for plays like that. Ellis feeling it with the jumper. He's been able to score on the drive and outside. Also hitting his teammates at a nice rate so far in this game. This time from the baseline, no good. Corralled by Saramago and dunked right back up and in. Having a power forward that can rebound and dominate on the inside is just such a mismatch against so many of the teams in the league. They just don't really have a good answer matching up with Mago. And I think that's a big key as to why we win so much in our spotlight games. We've seen some players give him trouble, but that was, last year, like a Jaren Jackson Jr. There are a couple of power forwards that I think match up well against Saramago, but for the most part, he's bigger and he's stronger than anyone's going to throw at him at the 4 spots. And that's really helping us out. Just like Josh Green helped us out there with that catch and shoot triple. Golden State now in transition. Kuminga with it going all the way to the baskets for the interior buckets. Pick and roll. Bowl with the finish. Under a minute left here in the third, and this is still a tie ball game. Lonzo swings it over to Josh Green. Another triple up and in for Josh Green. One of his better spotlight performances for us. Pick and roll. Down inside to Hardy for the basket. Finishing with the left off of the Lonzo ball assist. Curry. Catch and shoot again, and it's another three fired up and in for Chef Curry. Ellis able to respond, though, to making an 11-point ball game here as we are officially a couple minutes here into the fourth. Curry keeping Golden State right in it here as he continues to just take and make three after three. There's another nice drive by Straight A Ellis. Curry, step back. Not a ton of space, but just enough to get his shot off cleanly, and that's all he needs. As long as it's not getting blocked, it's got a good chance to go in for Steph Curry. This one out to a hot Steph Curry, and it's just a one-score ball game. Once more, 96 to 93. McKnight trying to extend the lead, and he does. Off the catch and shoot three. Down low, Saramago double. It doesn't matter. It's up and in with the turnaround shot with the right. Now in the mid-range. That little move right there, I don't know if I've ever seen him miss when he does that move in the mid-range. It's unstoppable. It's pretty much like that one LeBron James look down, step back shot. 106 to 96 here as Kuminga has a relatively clear path to the basket and scores over the top of the defender there. Setting up Albert Ellis with the cut. He gets a nice feed from Saramago and lays it up and in. Another paint finish for Albert Ellis. His best finishing performance, I think, of his spotlight career. He's had some moments in the past, but hasn't quite put it together consistently as he has in this one. 9-point game. Steph, you can't give him space, and that's going to cost us as it's just a 6-point game. Ellis with the response. Drills the triple off the screen. And it's a 9-point Blizzard lead, and Albert Ellis doing a little bit of everything in this game. Lobbing it up top to Duren on that fast break opportunity. Steph on the drive, gets past Ellis, drawing the foul as well. Golden State not quite ready to be out of this one. Saramago in the pose, hits the shots over Kuminga, giving us back a 10-point lead. Now Ellis in isolation, going against the center. The reverse! A fancy finish there. The spin into the reverse just looked too smooth, and then he'll fire in a triple here, and that's going to wrap this game up. Albert Ellis continues his spotlight breakout here with another excellent performance against Steph Curry and the Warriors. Vital in that late game stretch there, making plays with the pass and with the shot. Saramago will still be your player of the game. That's no surprise. It's pretty much an automatic. Whenever Vancouver wins, it's likely due to that man. Doesn't quite drop another 40 bomb like he has in the past, but 39, 16, and 3, that's really good. Albert Ellis with 27, 2, and 6. His best spotlight game for us pretty easily. Steph drops 53 on us, though, in the loss. He could not be stopped, and that might raise some questions about Ellis's defense come the playoffs. It'll be 23 and 24 here at the end of the episode. After 4 straight wins, we had 3 straight losses. Over halfway through the season now. Let's go ahead and get another update as to how our players are performing this season. Ayrton Saramago is, of course, our leader at 25 points per game, 9.5 rebounds, 4 steals, and 2 stocks. Shooting 50% from the field, shooting 38% from 3, shooting 86% from the free throw line. Yeah, he's been good. And we have a lot of evidence to point to the fact that he's been good. So, there you have that. Cameron McKnight, over 20 points per game, has slipped under 4 rebounds, 2.5 assists, a steal, just a half a block, which I believe is down from last year. I mean, not a ton, but 44% from the field, 37% from 3. The fact that he is shooting worse than Saramago is funny. Just where they were where they're drafted, but of course Saramago got a ton of development. 15, 11, and 2. The block a game as well. Shooting 61% for Jalen Duren. His best season with the squad so far. The rookie Albert Ellis is up to 14.5 points, 3.5 rebounds, a little over 5 assists a game, also averaging over a steal per game. Field goal percentage just over 40. And he does have that 3-point percentage back up over 30 here. And he's taking 5 a game. So we'd love to see higher than 31 if you're taking 5 a game, but it is coming up. So that's good to see. And then we have one more player in double digits. Our 6th man, Lonzo Ball, 11, 4, and 5 with a steal and a half on top of it. 41% from the field, 37 from deep on 5.5 3 balls a game. Max Christie for us has started to get that efficiency back up, which you like to see for sure. Hardy still not looking great here. I mean, I can't believe we can't get a backup center to shoot over 40% from the field. Leonard Miller here continues to be pretty efficient, fairly low volume. I mean, the three's not totally there, but 5 shots a game and he's making 48% of them. I'll take it. Josh Green, 42% from deep is beautiful. He's taking over half of his shots from deep, and he's actually shooting better from 3-point land than he is from 2-point land right now, which is kind of funny. There you have that. I also want to take a look at where we rank in maybe some team statistics. So in terms of scoring in the league, we rank 14th best points per game offensively. In terms of allowing teams to score, we are pretty average there. We allow the 14th most points. Differential wise, it's got to put us it's going to be a little bit below average. Out of all the teams with a positive differential, we have the lowest positive differential. So the fact that we're right around 400 definitely tracks there. In terms of shooting the ball, we shoot 46% from the field. The Rockets are shooting over 50% this year. That's pretty much right in the middle of basketball. We shoot 35% from deep. That'll put us just outside the top 10. And our free throws, looks like we're a decent free throw shooting team, just outside the top 10 as well. In terms of getting offensive rebounds, second best in all of basketball. Thank you, Jalen Duren. In terms of getting defensive rebounds, third best in basketball. Saramago and Duren as your front court. Yeah, you're going to be a good rebounding team, and we have been this year. In terms of dishing out the basketball, this is our biggest improvement on the season. We are 6th in the league in assists. Last season, we had just one player averaging over 3 assists a game. That's up to, I think, 4 this year. So much, much better on that front. In terms of creating steals, we had 7.3, which is inside the bottom of basketball. 20th in blocks. In terms of turnovers, we are pretty much middle of the pack. Points off of turnovers. This is where you want to be high. This is not something we're excelling at this year. Second chance points. We're lower than we should be with our offensive rebounding percentage, I gotta say. In terms of points in the paint, we are in the top 10 in basketball. Bench points, third worst in basketball. The fact that we have our guys spreading out minutes so that our starters can kind of always be the focal point, I think is leading to this. Having, Lonzo Ball is doing well off the bench, but other than that, kind of Max Christie too. In terms of defense, forcing misses, we're somewhere in the 4.6s, so that'll be right around the middle as well. So there you have it. That's the update for the team here as we just have gotten through January. Next episode will be the trade deadline. I'll look around the league, maybe see if there are any manual trades I need to do. I doubt this team will do anything on the trade deadline. We've already done 2 trades this year, and I like where the team is at, both rotation wise, not that a trade would affect our rotation, but also mentor wise. I don't think we need to make a trade or anything to try to better our mentorship position. So that's all I got here for the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back soon with another, and I see you then. Bring the Blizzard.